Well, hi, hello, and how are you doing out there in internet land? My name is Brian Trippett. I am the Front Porch Conservative, and welcome to the Tuesday Night Newsroom, that fun little thing we do where we get together, we talk about the news, we give our views, and we try to make sense out of this crazy thing that we call life. My name is Brian Trippett. I am the Front Porch Conservative. I am sometimes known as the beau in the chapeau. I am sometimes called the kid in the lid, sometimes referred to as the fine fella in the fedora. But above all else, in this moment, on planet Earth, I am your host. We are on Rumble, we are on Twitter, and we are on that quaint little alternative social media platform known as YouTube. So if you would not mind, please do me some favors as always. Number one, if you're not a subscriber to my channel, please do so. Number two, please hit the bell for notifications. I want to make sure you're always aware when something is going on with my channel, be it a live stream, be it a video, be it an interview with somebody, whatever. We want to make sure that you're always in the know as part of Fedora Nation. And while you're at it for tonight's live stream, that brings me to number three. Please hit the like button and please leave a comment in chat. Believe it or not, it really does help push this channel out to people who may not have ever seen us before. I know that is shocking to some of you that we are an underground phenomenon, but such is the truth. We truly are. So the more you do to help us promote, the more we get out there. So always a pleasure to have you talking about us. Always a pleasure to be talking to you. We're in for a fun night tonight. I don't know about you guys, but I had an absolutely fabulous Labor Day weekend. I really did. The lady was in town. And we had quite the time enjoying much college football. I did get to see Lee Corso's last helmet head pick as part of his duties on ESPN, retiring after 38 years of invaluable service to the game of college football and to life in general. So, yeah. Let's hear for the OH and the IO. Yeah, buddy, they did a number on Texas. Let me tell you something. Arch Manning, preseason Heisman favorite. Whatever. That poor kid looked like a deer in the headlights out there against Ohio State's defense. And by the way, not that this is necessarily going to be a sports show tonight, but for you Buckeye fans out there across the nation, you have now slipped into the number one position according to the AP poll. So congratulations. You guys earned it. You truly did. So, yeah. It's a good night to be here. Good night. WWG1 says, please mute when you fart. I'll have you know, sir, that was not a fart. That was a general sound effect meant to add to the show. That was not me farting, or my farting, or or anyone's farting for that matter, sir. How rude, how untoward. Oh my goodness. Man adds a well, TBA is taking credit for that one. Okay, well, in that case, yeah, you go talk to him, WWG1. You go talk to your buddy TBA over there on Rumble. I tell you the truth. Awful, I say. Absolutely awful. Goodness me. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we had a wonderful weekend. Visiting family, lots of food, lots of football. Oh, and by the way, if anybody thought Bill Belichick was going to have a real easy time as a college coach, yeah, I think that notion got dispelled last night. Oh my gosh. What the TCU Horned Frogs did to the North Carolina Tar Heels on the football field was ugly. Just ugly. Anyway, I hope you guys had a wonderful Labor Day weekend with your family and your friends. And Gypsy was saying this evening, it's just, what are we going to possibly have to talk about tonight? There's nothing going on. And I was like, yeah, right, sure. Yeah, nothing to talk about. No, nothing to see. No. There's lots to talk about, folks, and we're going to get right into all of it, as we are wont to do, and as we are always wont to do. We will start off with the merry memes. Now, for those of you maybe visiting, let's see. Wait a minute. Hold on. One last football thing. TBA asks, how did your Thundering Herd do, Brian? WWG1 says, did you hear that the Thundering Herd lost 45-0? No, sir, it was not 45-0. That is a total inaccuracy, sir. It was 45-7. But we held them under 50. Okay? Give our defense credit, sir. We held the Georgia Bulldogs under 50 points. By golly, by George. No, we did not get skunked. I will have you know, sir, we did not get skunked. We scored a touchdown, albeit late in the fourth quarter, but we did not get skunked. So there. Sorry, folks. I occasionally have to get rough with the wingnuts over there on Rumble. Okay, that's a rough crowd. It's a truly rough crowd. No, now wait a minute. No, that's not true. 45-7 is not a skunking. Skunking is defined as we got totally nothing. We got butkus as far as points. That is not a skunking, sir. I totally disagree with your assessment. All right. Anyway, now that we've discussed all matters football, y'all got it out of your system over there on Rumble? Just saying, seriously. All right. Nah, I'm just messing with you guys. Anyway, no, we're glad to have y'all here, and we'll start off as we are wont to do. And that is, what is it? Wait a minute. You walk in the room and you just start piling on, man? Don't get me wrong. I'm glad to see you, Robert, but still, geez, come on now. Let's just look, we herd fans. We know what to expect. We'd play a team like Georgia, but geez. TBA tosses a bright green, Kelly green dildo into the chat. Oh, now you're just being downright offensive, sir. It's bad enough that we took a drubbing at the hands of University of Georgia, but now you're throwing a lime green dildo in. That's just wrong. Absolutely wrong. Anyway, let us get to the merry memes before this gets even worse. Yes. Hello, Robert. Anyway, yeah, let's see who all's here. We got Gypsies in the house this evening. Lana is here. Mwah. Hello, gorgeous. Robert's in the house. The Wingnuts have been heard from over on Rumble, TBA, and WWG1. Anyway. All right, let's get down to business. Now, this first one is more in the way of seriousness, and this was shared by our favorite crazy Canadian, Mr. Adam from up north. And it's sometimes you just need to be reminded of the things that are important. So with that in mind, I give you the following. From the legendary William Pitt the Younger, member of Parliament in the 18th century, necessity is the plea for every infringement of human liberty. It is the argument of tyrants. It is the creed of slaves. Boy, I tell you, that's a good one. That is a real good one. And I want to thank Adam for finding that one and forwarding it over to me. It's genuinely appreciated. Sometimes you just have to be reminded of this stuff. And you sit there, well, I don't understand how that works. Oh, let me take you back in time, guys. Oh my gosh, they flew planes in the World Trade Center. We've got to have tighter restrictions at the airport. Oh my goodness, we've got to have this and this and this and this, which means a little less liberty, a little less liberty, a little less liberty. Ah, the professor is in the house. Christian Watson, I got your message, sir. And apologies, I haven't had a chance to respond yet, but my answer is yes. I just got to work out a date with you guys. The next couple of Sundays that I've got are going to be crazy busy, but I want to do it. So I will respond to you this evening when I get done with the live stream. But Christian, welcome to the live stream. Glad to have you in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Follow this man on Twitter. Follow him on YouTube. Follow him wherever he's on social media. You got it. If you wanted some deep thought conversations, Christian Watson's your man to go to. All right. Let us see what else we have in the way of the memes this evening. But yes, Christian, thank you for the invite. I just haven't got a chance to talk to you yet, but I will message you this evening. But glad to have you here, sir. Glad to have you here. All right. What else is going on out there? TBA says, be free, they said. 50 years later, we have poop on the streets by the insane people. Yeah, you're wrong there. No, by the way, as you guys know, President Trump, more in the role of builder, is doing some renovations at the White House. He's adding on a ballroom, which I think is pretty cool. I think that's nice. He's also doing some work in the Rose Garden. He's putting up somewhere in there presidential portraits, and he's got some rough sketches of how these portraits are going to look. And then we've got an example here. However, I think certain people are going to be a little bit upset when they see this. Yeah, I don't know how the Biden folks are going to feel about this, but this is a rough sketch layout of the presidential portrait area of the Rose Garden renovations that Trump is doing. So, well, like I say, how the Biden folk are going to handle this, yeah, this could get really interesting indeed. Yeah, I'm afraid too. Very afraid. Anyway, so Trump, as usual, doing his thing. All right, what else do we have in the way of memes and news and other pieces of conversation going on out there? Oh, I found another one. And I got to thank WWG1 for this one because, people give WWG1 a lot of grief. They simply assume that because he posts memes, or shall we say, allegedly tawdry comments over on the Rumble side, that he's not a man of letters and not a man of learning. I profoundly disagree with that. WWG1 is many, many things. He is a well-read scholar. As a matter of fact, you didn't know it, but he is quite the Tolkien, J.R.R. Tolkien scholar. And he sent me something that I thought was, much like that quote that Adam forwarded from William Pitt the Younger. WWG1 found an absolutely fantastic J.R.R. Tolkien, which truly I think is appropriate in this day and age in which we find ourselves. And I'm going to go ahead and pop this up on screen. Quote, evil is not able to create anything new. It can only steal memes and use Chat GPT. So says the great professor J.R.R. Tolkien. Well, see, I don't know that see. So what are we saying? People that steal memes are automatically evil? I don't know, man. I don't know. It seems, even by the mid 20th century standards that Tolkien would have made this statement in, this seems a little harsh. I don't know that I'm ready to call TBA or WWG1 or Salty Old Fart or anybody who sends me a meme. I don't know that I'm prepared to call them evil. Look, just because the professor has a very high opinion about what should and should not be, I don't know, man. I'm not quite ready to. I don't know that I'm quite ready to call people like that evil. But, the professor, the reason that he's called professor for a reason. So, you know what? I could be wrong in this matter. And I'm willing to allow for that possibility. Just saying. All right. What else do we have out here? What other great contributions do we have to this show? Let me see. Yes. A lot of people think that Trump is not exactly a politically correct individual on a lot of matters, and I can kind of understand where they're coming from. I do think that's I think that's a very unfair criticism of Trump, to be perfectly honest with you. I think Trump knows when and where to be tactful. Again, I could be wrong about that, but I do. I think he knows when and where to be tactful. And contrary to popular opinion, he will go out of his way to try and, how shall I say this? He'll go out of his way to try and massage the concerns that people have about a policy that he might want to implement or the effect of it, what have you. And a good example of that recently, he recently reached out to the Canadians and made a concession to them that they were not expecting. And honestly, I don't know that I would have gone ahead and renamed tariff a carbon tax. But you know what? I can understand if you're Trump, you're trying to make better relations with your neighbors up north. Maybe he feels this is going to work out to the benefit of everybody here. Hard to say, but if you hear Trump talking about a 50% carbon tax, just remember, folks, that's not a real carbon tax. That's his new word for tariff. He seems to think this will help with the Canadians. Zippy's in the house tonight. I see him over there on Rumble, and if I know him, he's loitering about somewhere on YouTube, or at least he's meandered over. Let us see. Yes, he is. There he is. Hello, Zippy. Good to see you among us tonight, my friend. Good to see you among us tonight. Good to have you here, sir. Good to have you. All right. What else do we have in the way of the merry memes? Let us see. What have we got? Oh, speaking of the Canadians, and I got to thank Gypsy for this one. She sent this to me earlier. Apparently, Trump has gotten under the skin of the Canadians. Did you guys hear that the new carbon taxes that Trump has put on the Canadians has forced what's the name of that whiskey company? Purple Bag. I'm having a brain fart right at the moment. It's not Canadian Club. It's oh, come on, guys, help me out here. It's a blended whiskey, and it usually Crown Royale. There it is. Brains are starting to go. The Crown Royale plant has, due to tariffs, has decided to cross the border and start manufacturing their whiskey. Thank you, dear. I do appreciate that. Yeah, Crown Royale has decided to start manufacturing their bourbon in America. Well, as you might expect, this has made the Canadians much upset. And Doug Ford, who is the governor, I would call him governor. He would say they'd use the term premier in Canada. Doug Ford held a press conference, and to demonstrate how upset he was about this situation, he took a bottle of Crown Royale and decided to pour it out. However, I think you're going to begin to see that he starts running into a slight problem. But anyway, we'll play you his comments. Check this out.
So this is what I think about Crown Royal. That's what they could do. And I think everyone else should do the same thing. Start supporting companies that make whiskey here by Ontario people. That's what we need to do, is support each other. You know something? I'm going to make this even come out quicker because it's not coming out.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, before I finish playing this, if you have ever had the occasion to drink adult beverages, or you have gone to an establishment that serves adult beverages, I think you will begin to understand why it is Premier Ford is having trouble pouring the whiskey out the bottle. You might have noticed a little white, looks like a tab inside the top of the bottle. Yeah, that's put there, and I know you guys know about this. That is put there to kind of slow down the outpouring of the product from inside the bottle. Well, apparently nobody on Doug Ford's staff or Doug Ford himself had the good common sense to realize, maybe we ought to take this off before we try to do this dramatic thing. Anyway, Just thought I'd point that out, and we'll now go back to your regularly scheduled silliness. Here you go.
I know Mayor Barry wants to lie on the floor right now with his mouth open. No thanks. But no, I wish I could get this out coming out quicker, but I'll stand here until it's all done. Anyways, folks, thank you. My brothers and sisters in uniform over at Crown Royal, I got your back. We're going to be there to help you. And by the way, I'm going to send you the cleaning bill to Crown Royal.
There's a lot of reasons why Doug Ford, the premier of the Ontario province, ought to be removed from office. But I would argue there's one above all else: alcohol abuse. Am I saying that he's drinking too much? No, you're pouring that crap out. What's the matter with you? WWG1 says he's a crappy bartender. Boy, you ain't kidding. TBA says that little device on the top of the bottle allows a 1 ounce pour at a time. I did not know it was that specific, but thank you very much, sir. I do appreciate that. Yeah, you got that right, brother. Duh. Duh. You know, Robert, you may have just come upon how we will refer to our brothers up north. No, I can't do that. I like Sean. I like other people from Canada. I can't go doing that I can't go busted on their country like that. Jeez. Anyway, goodness me. No, wait a minute, Zippy. Hang on. It's a cool day. Also, allergy meds work well enough if I recall to take them. LOL. Have you guys been having trouble with your eyes the past few days? I tell you what. I mean, I will clean my eyes out in the morning with a washcloth and hot water, and normally that just takes care of me. Past 3 or 4 days, man, my one eye in particular has been watering like a mad fiend. I don't know if it's allergies or what the heck is going on. So just crazy. I don't know if you guys are having that problem or not. Oh, let's see. What else have we got? One moment, please. I think that for now is going to finish our merry memes. And, well, no, I take that back. There's one more. But it's not really even a meme as much as it is a message from President Trump. Believe it or not, we have a message this evening from President Donald Trump. And this is in response to all those haters out there who have been, spreading rumors about his demise. You've had the same problem too? Okay, all right, good. I'm not alone. I mean, not that I'm happy you're going through this, but okay, I'm not alone. So everybody's apparently got a case of this stuff. Zippy says off and on, eyes been icky, but sneezing is the worst. I'm so sorry to hear that. I am so sorry to hear that. But yeah, apparently everybody's had a bad case of this, whatever it may be going around. Not cool. Not cool at all. But we have a message this evening from President Trump responding particularly to those haters out there who've been spreading rumors about his demise. And so check this out.
Violets are blue and roses are red. And the left is throwing fits because I am not dead. And the best way to know that I'm truly alive is to watch my big, beautiful tee shot, a majestic 400-yard drive. My health is fantastic. My doctors all cheer. They say, "Sir, you're incredible. You'll last many more years." My numbers are tremendous, and I'm feeling first rate. After all, I have to be ready to beat greasy Gavin Newsom in 2028. All their Trump-deranged fantasies have gone up in smoke as I chow down on a Big Mac with a fresh Diet Coke. So despite all the lies and the fake news and the chatter, I'm healthy, I'm strong. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. And not only did we get a message from Donald Trump this evening, Who knew that he is such a poet? I had no idea. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, that kid, Sean Farash, he is really, really amazing. Really amazing. So something else, I tell you. But yeah, now I play that. For one thing, it's funny, and number two, WWG1, as always, is great at finding these sort of things. I hadn't thought about it, Zippy, but you might be absolutely right about this. I really had not considered that until you posted that, but now that I stop it and think about it, he really does come off with a Captain Kirk-esque sort of sound to him. I mean, who knew? That is oh my gosh. Zippy, I love you. You are absolutely a joy to have in this audience, I tell you. Now I played that thing. One, because WWG1 sent it to me. Number two, because it's funny. And number three, to sort of set up, I guess, what we're going to talk about first. And over the weekend, I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but I don't really know how this got started, except that, it's Labor Day weekend. Everybody is trying to have some downtime, okay? Including the President of the United States. Now, that's not to say, the President of the United States having downtime is the same as you and I having downtime. And I'm not trying to glorify Trump or any person who holds the office. It's just that's the reality. Downtime for an American president is, not having to worry about certain issues, maybe. But you're always on the alert in case something comes up. So Trump kind of goes, radio silent for a couple of days. Slips down to Mar-a-Lago, plays some golf. Maybe he played golf at one of his other courses around D.C. Who knows? But for a couple of days, Trump goes radio silent, right? Well, this caused a lot of folks on the political left, I guess, to get just a little too happy with themselves and literally start spreading rumors Trump was dead. Or just totally something's wrong with him. To the point that you had posts like this one. I mean, bless her heart, this lady is she's gone around the bend. She's out there where the buses don't run. And if you don't believe me, listen to this, and I think you'll understand why I'm saying it.
It's Saturday morning. I am currently on my way to Cleveland. And as I'm scrolling, people keep talking about the pizza deliveries to the Pentagon and how nobody has seen this motherfucker. Holy shit. Could it be? Could it fucking be? Wouldn't that be a way to fucking celebrate this fucking weekend? Oh my God. Could it be? I guess we'll have to wait and see. Maybe the Kinkles got him. Maybe the McDonald's has kicked it.
Okay, you know what? I was being nice to the lady a minute ago, but after listening to that rant, I just have one thing to say to you, lady. Do you single much? Why do I have a strange feeling? Call me crazy, but why do I have a strange feeling that there's not a significant other in your life? Yeah. She's out there where the buses don't run. WWG1 over on Rumble says it takes all kinds. Yeah, that's all kinds, all right. Oh boy. Now that that sets up our next clip. So Trump, contrary to the wishes of many lefties out there, was in fine form, and he was at the White House today, giving an announcement regarding Space Command being moved from Colorado down to Alabama, and talking about taking questions from the press. And look, and I'm not here trying to sit here and pump up Trump. He can do that on his own, and believe me, he's been doing it for almost 80 years. He does a great job of it. But he's taking questions from the press, and Peter Ducey of Fox News asks him something of an unusual question, but it kind of addresses this whole thing. So, folks, give me just 1 second. I'll get this pulled up. And, Trump is he gives one of those classic Trump answers. Check it out, folks. Well, there we go. Maybe. Oh, you got to be kidding me. Did this thing freeze? Hang on a minute, folks. Hang on. Yep, here we go.
Completely different, but about a big viral social media trend over the weekend. How did you find out over the weekend that you were dead? You see that?
No.
People didn't see it for a couple days. 1.3 million user engagements as of Saturday morning about your demise.
Really?
I didn't see that.
I have heard it's sort of crazy, but last week I did numerous news conferences, all successful. They went very well, like this is going very well. And then I didn't do any for 2 days, and they said there must be something wrong with him. Biden wouldn't do them for months. You wouldn't see him. And nobody ever said there was ever anything wrong with him, and we know he wasn't in the greatest of shape. No, I heard that. I get reports. Now, you knew I did an interview that lasted for about an hour and a half with somebody, and everybody saw that was on one of your competitors. I did numerous shows, and also did a number of truths, long truths, and I think pretty poignant truths. No, I was very active over the weekend. They also knew I went out to visit some people at the club that I own, pretty nearby on the Potomac River. And no, I've been very active actually over the weekend. I didn't hear that one. That's pretty serious stuff. Well, it's fake news. It's just it's so fake. That's why the media has so little credibility. I knew they were saying, like, is he okay? How's he feeling? What's wrong? I said, I just left. And it's also sort of a longer weekend, it's Labor Day weekend. So I would say a lot of people know I was very active this Labor Day. I had heard that, but I didn't hear it to that extent.
Yeah, and that's just it. It's Labor Day weekend, people. Seriously? The guy took 2 days off. Wait a minute. That's not supposed to be there yet. Hang on. Oh, yeah, the guy took 2 days off. Okay? He took 2 days off. Give him a break. I mean, seriously. But no, there are people out there that cannot stand Donald Trump so much that if he goes radio silent for a couple of days, oh my God, there's something wrong with him. Something wrong with him. And it's just like, jeez. WWG1 asks, what do you think about the throwing stuff out the White House window, Brian? Trump said that whenever something bad happens, we should blame AI. I heard about that, but I have not had a chance to look into that. Apparently, somebody did some kind of AI thing where they're throwing Trump or throwing something out the White House window, which is just crazy. Absolutely crazy. Gypsy says they can get back to us when we see Trump fall over on his bicycle on his way to fighting with his beach chair. That's a great point, dear. That's an absolutely great point. Totally true. I couldn't stand Obama or Biden, and I never wished for either of them to be dead, and I wouldn't have shed it over them. Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, I made, and believe me, God knows I did, Biden and Obama both. But I didn't wish them dead. I'm sorry, there are some seriously mentally ill people out there that claim to be following politics. They're just sick. Leftism is performative art. TikTok is hyper performative art that's even less artistic. It's like bad wrestling. Yeah, buddy. Ain't nothing worse than bad wrestling. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this is just absolutely crazy. Like I said, Donald Trump takes 2 days off and the left goes absolutely nuts. Now, that said, however, Trump was busy doing stuff over the weekend. Matter of fact, one of the things he did that did not get nearly as much coverage as it could have, but the internet being what it is, the internet is making sure that this gets covered. Apparently, Trump signed the no, I'm sorry. He cited the Gay and Rahad Act of 1798, issues an executive order deporting the entire Democrat Party. And people said he wasn't busy over this weekend. I tell you what, it just awful, I say. Just absolutely awful. But like I said, it didn't get all the coverage that it should have, but trust me, the internet is going to make sure you know exactly what Donald Trump was doing. Zippy over on Rumble says Biden, Obama, Bush, Reagan, LBJ, Nixon would not want them harmed or dead, just that they, exactly. Nobody wants, Now, this is a good point. There's wrestling and then there's wrestling. Okay. I grew up watching wrestling. Okay. Now, for those of you out there who are seeing Lana's comment, you're wondering what the heck's the difference. Let me see if I can explain this to you. Wrestling is that ancient Greco-Roman art that involves tying up your opponent in pins and submissions for the express purpose of trying to score some form of a point. Wrestling is the WWE or the NWA or Ric Flair or the late Hulk Hogan, or I could just sit here and go on and on and on. That's wrestling. Okay. That's different. Oh Lord. WWG1, what have you sent me? Hang on, folks. There's a late entry to the Merry Memes competition here. Hang on a second. And with WWG1, you never quite know what you're going to get. It's like a box. It's like a box of chocolates. Hang on. Oh Lord, this is good. This is so good. WWG1, yeah. We're doing this, brother. We're doing this. Hang on a minute. Let me get it set up. But we're doing this. Oh my gosh, that is great. Folks, I know I'm teasing you with this, but we're going to, we're going to get, hang on, y'all. We're going to get into this. Oh my goodness. That is so funny. So funny indeed. Now, I said that Trump was busy over the weekend and legitimate. I'm making something of a joke, but he was busy over the weekend. He did, by his own admission, put out some pretty important posts on Truth Social. And one of them has got everybody's attention right now because they don't quite know exactly what it means. But if it means what I think it does, folks, this could get real interesting. I want to read you a Truth Social post that President Trump wrote over the weekend. It is very important that the drug companies justify their success of the various COVID drugs. Let me see if I can make this a little easier for myself here. Many people think they are a miracle that saved millions of lives. Others disagree. With CDC being ripped apart over this question, I want the answer and I want it now. I have seen I've been shown some information from Pfizer and others that is extraordinary, but they never seem to show the results to the public. Why not? They go off to the next hunt and let everyone rip themselves apart, including Bobby Kennedy Jr. and the CDC, trying to figure out the success or failure of the drug companies' COVID work. They show me great numbers and results, but they don't seem to be showing them to many others. I want them to show them now to the CDC and the public and clear up this mess one way or the other. I hope Operation Warp Speed was as brilliant as many people say it was. If not, we all want to know about it and why. Thank you for your attention to this important matter. President DJT. And before I go further, Zippy with a Rumble rant. I knew an ex-wrestler that did wrestling. His name was Rick Starr, Ricky Eaton. God bless his country singing soul. Well, thank you for the Rumble rant, Zippy. I genuinely appreciate that. TBA says, Andre the Giant was my favorite. Well, I can understand that. Now, let's talk about this Truth Social post for a second. Because this gets to something, and I am very curious if what I think is about to happen is about to happen. Many people, be it in this chat, on social media, on the political right, libertarians, conservatives, medical freedom people, for the longest time, have had very serious problems with the way Pfizer, in particular, and other drug companies, but Pfizer, went about handling the rollout and the lead up to the COVID vaccine. Okay. And I'm one of them. And it's becoming painfully obvious to anybody. The more information that comes out is there's a lot of things that the public was not told as it relates to the COVID vaccine. Okay. And a lot of people have been on Donald Trump's case, and for the record, I think appropriately so, wondering, hey, do you not see what they did to you? Do you not realize, you got hoodwinked, yada, yada, yada? And people around him have said they sold it to Trump as a vaccine. They did not explain that it was mRNA technology. Okay. Now, many people who know Trump really, really, really well, okay, and even if you don't know him that well, I think it's a pretty safe statement, okay? Trump will never admit that he's wrong. But this is about as close as you're going to get to him ever doing that. When he starts questioning, hey, you're showing me one set of numbers, you won't show them to the public. The public is out here saying, hey, this thing wasn't nearly as successful as, you trying to sell me on it. I'd kind of like to know exactly what's the deal here. Now, not trying to steal anything from anybody out there, but there are some who have speculated, what if Trump is starting to verbally set up Bobby Kennedy, really, really, really digging into this thing and laying out to the public informationally what happened, why it happened, and what the results of it actually were. Again, it's a theory, it's speculation, but is this Truth Social post right here, is this the beginning of Trump going after the pharmaceutical companies? And you can make an argument he'd have a lot of reasons to do it. Okay? And there's a lot of good reasons why he should do it. Be they public policy, be they health related or otherwise. But I just wonder if this Truth Social post isn't Trump's shot across the bow, as it were. I mean, you guys are free to disagree with me on this if you want, or tell me I'm right, but I don't think I'm too far off. Hello, Dave. Good to see you, brother. I don't need any answers. It's a federal program or institution I'm 100% confident is nefarious and needs to be gutted. Love the conservative Porch family. Well, Dave, thank you very much for that. We appreciate it. We appreciate that. Well, Gypsy says that I'm wrong on this one. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Don Jr. Did not take the COVID vax. Trump, okay. All right. That's a fair point. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Every so often Trump will pop something out there and it just kind of goes off in the wind. This one, I don't know. And again, I could be totally wrong. But he popped this out there over the weekend. I'm like, this just got interesting. We'll see. I remember the cabinet meetings. He wanted things done quickly, but also safely. He also never wanted to force anyone to take it. That is true. That is true. You know, let's see who else has got some comments on this. Hang on. Yeah, and this is what they're getting accused of. This is what they're getting accused of, and I think rightfully so. TBA over on Rumble says, Brian, the truth about the COVID jabs must come out, but gently, so people don't go out and get some retribution. Now, that's a fair point. That's a very fair point. Very fair. That's a good observation. No, I mean, this came out over the weekend. I mean, and we'll see. We will absolutely see. You know, like I say, it might be one of those Truth Social posts where Trump's just talking to hear himself talk. Maybe this is the prelude to something. We'll see. But that wasn't the only Truth Social post that Trump put out over the weekend, among other things. There's another one here, and this is actually, it wasn't this weekend, it was early this morning. And I'm not quite sure how I feel about this, but I'm going to let you guys, if you haven't seen this, Gypsy said at the very beginning of the live stream, what are we going to talk about? There's nothing going on. Oh, yeah. with her wonderful sense of ironic humor, she definitely set everybody up with that one. Check this out. Early this morning, on my order, U.S. military forces conducted a kinetic strike against possibly identified Tren de Agua narco-terrorists in the Southcom area of responsibility. TDA is a designated foreign terrorist organization operating under the control of Nicolas Madera, responsible for mass murder, drug trafficking, sex trafficking, and acts of violence and terror across the United States and the Western Hemisphere. The strike occurred while the terrorists were at sea in international waters transporting illegal narcotics headed to the United States. The strike resulted in 11 terrorists killed in action. No U.S. forces were harmed in the strike. Please let this serve notice to anybody even thinking about bringing drugs into the United States of America. Beware. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, if you're wondering what that strike looked like, we've got some visual. DOD apparently released some video on it. And give me a second and I'll get this pulled up for you guys. One moment, please. Okay. Yeah, I've got it here. Hang on one moment. Yeah, this is declassified video imagery. And let me tell you something. Boy. Check this out. Here's this little boat moving right along. Got 10 or 11 or 12 guys in it. You know, they're out there on open international water. Going right along. And then all of a sudden, boom. Goodbye. Yeah. Now, folks, if our people did positively identify that these people were Tren de Agua, okay. Could you have intel that says there were drugs on the boat? Yeah. Are we getting ready to do something down South America? Because I keep hearing more and more chatter as it relates to Venezuela, and I'm just starting to wonder, are we getting ready to do something down there? And I'm not, I guess I'm asking the question rhetorically, but I'm also asking it seriously. Are we getting ready to get into it with the Venezuelans? Are we about to depose Nicolas Madera, the leader of Venezuela? A democratically elected leader of Venezuela, by the way. Yeah, I think it's a little more than plausible. I think we're about ready to do it. This might have been the shot across the bow, metaphorically speaking. WWG1 says that was a warning for the others. Our Navy is down there. TBA says, how many battleships, destroyers, or subs do we have circling Venezuela? I have no idea. TBA says Maduro was not democratically elected. Okay. I mean, see, this gets to something, and I guess I want to get this off my mind or talk about it. Trump is doing a lot of things, and don't get me wrong, about probably 85, 90% of what he's doing, I'm real happy about. Not doing it fast enough, but you can only grind the wheels so much. But there's something he's setting in motion that really has me worried. I mean, for example, the federal troops going into cities to help with a domestic crime problems, which we're going to get to that here in a minute. Reigniting, debates about, gunboat diplomacy down in South America. I mean, Trump's not going to be there forever, man. And the precedence that he sets now is he's opening the door for people to do things after him that just take what he did in a limited manner and just push it even further and further and further and further. I mean, let's just assume for the sake of argument that we wind up doing something down in Venezuela. Now, knowing Trump, he's going to have some kind of, plausible, constitutionally permissible explanation as to what permits him to do it. Now, what happens when you get a president in there that doesn't give a hang about the Constitution or the rule of law and just says, well, Trump did it. Why can't I do it? We're getting into some very dangerous territory here. Zippy with another Rumble rant. Thank you very much for that, sir. I think it's fair to use federal soldiers to reestablish law and order when the local governments and states refuse to do so, else law and order is moot. Okay. All right. Let's see. Installed Maduro, not democratically elected, so we have already... the CIA installed Maduro, so we've already interfered. Okay, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. Fair point. Yeah, you can make an argument we've already interfered in the Venezuelan elections. Which, by the way, goes to something else. Wouldn't we be a whole lot better off if we keep our nose out of everybody else's business? Seriously? Let's worry about America for a while. Quit worrying about everybody else around the world. Or quit trying to build ourselves up by tearing everybody else down overseas. Jeez. No, and I'm not trying to use a Democrat slogan for that. That's the truth. Truly. Okay. Here it is. Speaking of things that Trump is doing, did you hear part of his press conference today? Somebody asked him about the city of Chicago. Well, to that end, our dear friend WWG1 sent something over. Trump is already apparently making moves in Chicago. Folks, check this out. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, the music stopped. I'm sorry. Apparently, Trump's been cruising the Magnificent Mile already. So, yeah, let's go. Now, I play that to set up, I guess, our next story that we're going to talk about. And again, this is about to get really interesting. From our friends over at ABC News. Notice I use the word friends very loosely. Headline: Trump says he will deploy National Guard to Chicago, but doesn't say when. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker pushed back on Trump, calling his comments, quote, unhinged. Article by Alexandra Hutzler. We had the following. President Donald Trump on Tuesday told reporters he would deploy National Guard troops to Chicago, but didn't say when. Quote, well, we're going in, Trump said in the Oval Office when asked if he's made a decision on the matter after days of threats and warnings. But the president gave no timeline or specifics, quickly adding, I didn't say when we're going in. Look, I have an obligation. This isn't a political thing. I have an obligation. Now, if you're wondering specifically what Trump means by obligation, did you guys hear the stats that came out of Chicago over the weekend? This is absolutely horrible what's going on. From the New York Post, we've got the following. Check this out. Headline, Chicago Labor Day weekend bloodbath sees 8 killed, 58 shot, but left-wing mayor vows no federal troops to stop the violence. Article by Alex Oliveria, we have the following. Chicago's Labor Day weekend bloodbath left 8 people dead and scores wounded, while left-wing Mayor Brandon Johnson continued to rail against President Trump's proposed National Guard deployment to tackle the city's crime. At least 58 people were shot across the city, while gunfire erupting in at least 32 different shootings throughout the holiday weekend, WLS reported. One neighborhood saw 2 mass shootings within 48 hours, with 7 people being injured in a drive-by shooting Saturday night and 5 more being wounded blocks away on Monday. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I agree. It is awful. Chirac. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's a real good way to put it. Look, there's just no getting around it. Brandon Johnson is a failed mayor. Oh, yeah. And not only do the people want Trump to do something about it, it's reached the point that the Chicago politicians and the Illinois politicians in Springfield, not only have they lost the people of Chicago, they've lost the press, or some of them anyway. I got a story here that just blows my mind, and considering who it is, this is absolutely extraordinary to me, okay? Again, from the New York Post, check this out. Let me get this pulled up here. Headline, Morning Joe host Joe Scarborough urges defiant Chicago Dems to allow Trump to send National Guard after a bloody Labor Day weekend. Article by Anthony Blair, we've got the following. MSNBC host Joe Scarborough urged Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker to partner up with President Trump, saying radical moves were needed in the wake of a bloody Labor Day weekend in the Windy City. Scarborough's comments Tuesday morning on Morning Joe came days after he appeared to downplay crime in Chicago on his show. Quote, I actually think that J.B. Pritzker should do something radical. I think he should pick up the phone, call the president, and say, you know, and I know you don't have a constitutional authority to deploy National Guard here. You can do that in D.C. You cannot do it in Chicago. Let's partner up, Scarborough said Tuesday of his Morning Joe show. He slammed Pritzker and Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson for the mismanagement of crime in the city, where 54 people were shot and 7 killed over Labor Day weekend alone. Quote, you know, it would be radical for us to figure out a way to actually do what I've been saying from the very beginning in Washington, and that is seeing politicians creating partnerships that protect their people, Scarborough said. Because right now, just the, hey, nothing to see here, moving along, no problem here. Hey, Donald Trump, we don't need you. And, you know, the mayor talking about we're going to protect the people's dignity in our city. Last week, Scarborough downplayed crime and Democrat. Yeah, you've lost the Morning Joe crowd. Okay, you've lost Morning Joe. You've lost Joe Scarborough and that wonderful wife of his, Mika. Now, Scarborough does have a point, and this is my problem with what Trump's proposing to do. Under normal circumstances, under normal circumstances, you really, and this is where I got to talk to somebody. I got to get somebody on here. It's my understanding, let me rephrase that. It is my understanding that you cannot deploy National Guard troops absent the invitation of the governor or the mayor of the city, etc., but particularly the governor, okay? Now, there have been circumstances where that has not been the case. I'm wondering what kind of legal justification Trump has to have here, okay? And again, this goes back to things I'm worrying about. We're deploying, I mean, like I said, in D.C., you can kind of understand the need to do it. It's the nation's capital, which just happens to sit inside of a municipality, okay? So you can understand the argument that says, all right, we're deploying national troops, we're going to get this thing under control. That's not the case outside of D.C. Now, I think Brandon Johnson is a first-class idiot. Okay? The man has no business being mayor of Chicago. The man has no business being dog catcher. Okay? But he is the democratically elected official supposedly running the city of Chicago. J.B. Pritzker, or as John Cass lovingly refers to him, Governor Fat Boy. Governor Fat Boy might have a lot of faults and a lot of flaws, but he is the democratically elected governor of the state of Illinois. Can you totally override them and go in and do this, especially when you're doing it for what basically comes down to domestic crime prevention? We're starting to push up right on the edge. We're pushing up right on the edge of some constitutionally shaky ground that Trump's getting ready to walk right out in the middle of. Now, do I doubt at all that Trump feels a sense of obligation to try and do something about the crime in these cities? I think he's genuinely sincere in his belief. He feels like he's got an obligation to try and do something. My worry is this the right thing to do? I'm not so sure. I'm really not. I mean, Trump wants to do it. The people of Chicago are begging him to do it. The Morning Joe crowd saying, yeah, it's time for it to happen. Strangely enough, the only group of people that don't seem to want this to happen are the politicians in Chicago and the politicians in Springfield, Illinois. I got a quote here from Brandon Johnson that is just going to absolutely blow y'all's minds. Okay? And it's a snippet. It's just a snippet of the press conference that he had today with Governor J.B. Pritzker and the Lieutenant Governor of the state of Illinois. But folks, check this out. This is going to, now listen very carefully to what Brandon Johnson says here.
Shootings will continue as long as this presidential administration continues to put politics over people.
Let me play that again for you guys. Just in case you did not hear it, listen very carefully to what he says.
Shootings will continue as long as this presidential administration continues to put politics over people.
Mayor Johnson, I have a question. All right, wait a minute. One more time. I got to do this.
Shootings will continue as long as this presidential administration.
All right. Shootings will continue as long as this presidential administration
continues to put politics over people.
Continues to put politics over people. Shootings will continue so long as this administration puts politics over people. I know. If you didn't know that it was the real thing, you'd swear it was AI. That's how crazy it is. Zippy with another Rumble rant. Thank you for your generosity, sir. So what he is saying himself, the mayor, is putting politics over people. Thank you. Thank you. I guess he is. And I guess he thinks that it's Trump who's causing the shootings to happen. Shootings will continue in this city as long as this administration puts politics over people. Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, as I was saying a moment ago, I don't remember anybody in the Trump administration pulling the trigger on the guns that are going off in your city. I don't remember anybody in the Trump administration driving the cars for the drive-bys. No, the only thing the Trump administration wants to do is see it brought to an end. They want to help you do your job. They want, Mayor Johnson, let me break this down for you. They want to help you do your job. But yet you won't let them do it. You will not let them do it. You would rather have, let's see, what was that line from Milton? It is far better to rule in hell than it is to serve in heaven. You would rather be the ruler of your own dystopian hell as you would be a servant to a greater good and a greater cause. Yeah, no wonder the guy's got a 14% approval rating. WWG1 says it even better than anybody else. The beatings will continue until morale improves. Exactly. He's got that kind of mentality. He's got that kind of mentality. He would much rather see the people of his city suffer than to reach out and say, we're having trouble. We can't handle this. Will you help us? And by the way, let's get to this question of National Guard deployment for a second. Something just occurred to me. How come J.B. Pritzker hasn't called out the National Guard in Chicago? Let me say that again. How come J.B. Pritzker hasn't called out the National Guard in Chicago? I'm serious. Look, if everybody's all worried about Trump doing it, okay, that's one thing. The governor has the complete authority to call out the National Guard. What's stopping him? I mean, look, J.B. Pritzker can read the Chicago Tribune, the Chicago Sun-Times. He's got to know how bad this is. He's got to know how bad this looks. He's got to know how bad this looks considering he wants to run for president. If anybody's got an incentive to get this under control, it's J.B. Pritzker, because he does not need people pointing to Chicago saying, hey, if you're going to do that if you're doing that in Chicago, I don't want you even touching the rest of the country. J.B. Pritzker has more incentive than anybody to get crime under control in Chicago. And yet he won't do it. So is Trump really here's another question. Is Trump really the bad guy in this? Or is Pritzker? Pritzker could do something about it, and he won't. Trump wants to do something about it, and Pritzker's trying to stop him. Who's the bad guy here? If Johnson wasn't being led like a puppet, he would be cowering in the gutter. He is in no ways coming up there with this. Yep, I agree. Yeah, is the legal justification for the invitation to federal intervention. And to me, it's getting scarier and scarier, man. We're going to, yeah. WWG1 over on Rumble says, because the National Guard has already been federalized, Pritzker can't do it. Unless the National Guard has been federalized, they are not allowed to travel from state to state or outside the country, which they have done for the last 8 years. Okay, thank you for that. Thank you for that. Oh, by the way, talking about Pritzker, did you see the other day? There was a reporter, I think it was a local reporter, as a matter of fact, who was walking along beside Lake Michigan doing an interview with Pritzker and asked Pritzker probably one of the best questions that I have seen put to him in Lord knows how long. Okay. You guys have got to see this. If you haven't, you're going to check this out.
You're going to hear people, especially this past weekend, 54 shot, 7 dead.
Yeah.
They're going to say the city's not safe. Would you ask your friends to ride the L after midnight or after, 9 o'clock at night even to come down to the city from O'Hare?
That is a great question. I don't know who this reporter is. I've got a feeling she's local. Matter of fact, I want to back this up. Let you guys hear this again from the top.
You're going to hear people, especially this past weekend, 54 shot, 7 dead.
Yeah.
They're going to say the city's not safe. Would you ask your friends to ride the L after midnight or after, 9 o'clock at night even to come down to the city from O'Hare?
Look.
And there, ladies and gentlemen, in part, is why nothing is being done about crime in Chicago. J.B. Pritzker's friends aren't going to ride the elevated train. They're not going to take the subways in Chicago after certain hours of the night. They don't need to. They can ride in limousines. They can ride in helicopters. They don't need to do that sort of thing. They're taken care of. They got theirs. To hell with everybody else. To hell with you and me if we lived in Chicago. But they got theirs. They're going to take care of each other. Forget the rest of us. So here's Pritzker's answer to the question. And the question was, would you let your friends ride the L, what they commonly call the L, which is an elevated train, after midnight in Chicago or after 9 p.m. from O'Hare Airport down to downtown Chicago? Listen to the answer he gives.
Big cities have crime. There's no doubt about it. But let's just pay attention to what President Trump is doing targeting Chicago. He's overlooking red states that have much higher crime rates.
Whoa, what? What? Wait, what? Wait a minute. Red states, red cities that have much higher crime. Wait a minute. I got to hear this again. Hang on. He can't be serious. Hang on.
Look, big cities have crime. There's no doubt about it. But let's just pay attention to what President Trump is doing targeting Chicago. He's overlooking red states that have much higher crime rates.
Guys, help me out here. Thank you. Thank you very much. Name one. I'd have loved to have seen the reporter shoot back that question. Name one. Name one. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Gypsy, you're totally right. Total deflection. Yeah. Too true. Too true, my friend. WWG1 over on Rumble says, when they allow smoking in bars and restaurants again, I know we are truly free, at least to 1985 levels. Bingo. But yeah, I'd like for J.B. Pritzker to name me one Republican-controlled state that has a crime problem. Summertime over on Rumble. Good evening, there aren't any. Bingo. Bingo. There aren't any. Ah, Tiny Tesla. Ah. Yeah. Name one red state or one city controlled by the Republicans or under Republican control that has a crime problem. Now, that's not to say they don't have crime. I mean, Pritzker in one sense is correct. In one sense, he's absolutely right. Cities have crime, have a higher concentration of people. You've got the probability this is going to happen. I get it. But I don't agree whatsoever with the idea that a Republican controlled that they've got a higher crime problem. Did you happen to hear Victor Davis Hanson say the only thing Democrats have is just beat up Trump? No. Oh, I didn't hear it, but I totally agree with him. I totally agree with Victor Davis Hanson. The Democrats have nothing. I mean, I've been commenting ever since the election. I have never seen the Democrat Party so bereft. And what do I mean by bereft? I mean bereft of ideas, leadership, money, issues. I've never seen them like this. All they've got left is to try to beat up on Trump. There's just one problem with that. If Trump's policies kick in about the time of the midterm election, the Republicans might, and I say might, hold the House of Representatives and hang on to the Senate. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not guaranteeing the Republicans will hang on to the House and Senate in 26 if the Democrats, just keep beating up on Trump. There's a possibility they could still win the House. But it won't be because they put forth a better set of ideas. Clip of Brett Weinstein, he said the Democrats don't realize it's over. That may be truer than people understand. Yeah, I saw that video you sent me from Scott about Scott Pressler. Pressler's very worried about this election coming up in November in particular, and I think he's right to do so. Republicans are going to go to sleep at the switch. And in Pennsylvania, they cannot afford to do that. 3 of those judges ought not be retained. Absolutely ought not be retained. But the Republicans are going to go to sleep at the switch. They'll pay attention to the Virginia governor's race. They'll pay attention to the New Jersey governor's race, and they'll ignore everything else. They always do this. Possible. That's possible, Kawan. Good evening, sir. But they've got, and I'm not just saying this to be partisan, I'm yet to hear a Democrat idea about what to do about anything. Making things more affordable for families in America. I haven't heard a Democrat proposal yet. I haven't heard anything that tells me what they want to do. We'll see. We will see. Oh, gosh. What else? Oh, by the way, just shifting gears a little bit. I want to pose one last question to you guys on an unrelated topic. And I've been meaning to get around to this for a while. I just keep getting interrupted by time and other issues. You guys have heard about the Federal Reserve Governor, Lisa Cook, who's been fired over allegations of mortgage fraud. Well, I've got a video here. It's really kind of cute. It's done by a legendary journalist in Detroit, and Gypsy's probably going to be familiar with him, Charlie LaDuff. I think he used to write for the Detroit newspaper. I want to say it's Gypsy. Is it the Free Press? I'm trying to remember the name of the Detroit newspaper. But Charlie LaDuff used to. I mean, I shouldn't say used to. He's still a journalist. I just don't think. I just think now he's independent. But Charlie LaDuff did a really interesting Free Press. Either the Free Press or the Detroit News. Thank you, TBA. I could not remember the name of the paper up there. Charlie LaDuff used to write for either the Detroit News or the Detroit Free Press, and now he's working as an independent journalist. He did a really cute video which kind of explains this whole Lisa Cook situation. For those of you who've never seen this, check this out. I think you'll get a kick out of it.
Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook has 3 homes and big troubles. She claimed to the banks that she lived at all of them, but real estate records show she listed 2 of them for rent. That's not legal. So Lisa must be living here in Ann Arbor at the 3rd house, right?
The door's dirty. There's a key lockbox right there. There's a white man at the dining room table. It's weird. I don't think she's married.
Hello?
How you doing?
Okay, how are you?
I'm good. My name's Charlie. I'm a reporter. This house is in the news. I was wondering if Lisa Cook lives here, or do you rent?
Yeah, we're just renters, so you'll have to.
I'm sorry?
We'll have to talk to you.
Okay, you just living here?
Yeah.
Okay, just renting?
No, no.
I'm sorry?
You have to talk to the owner tonight.
Okay, the owner, would you have a contact number? Oh, we'll have to talk to the owner. They're just living here. Oh, Governor? Where do you live?
That's from Charlie LaDuff. And a little bit more background on Charlie. And Gypsy ought to know because this is her neck of the woods. Detroit News leans conservative. Detroit Free Press is liberal. Charlie used to be very liberal. I've heard that said about him, but I've also heard it said that he is one heck of a good reporter. So I play that video. For those of you not familiar with the background on Lisa Cook, she was serving as a Federal Reserve governor, basically the board of governors that Jerome Powell is sort of the head of. And there were 2 different referrals made to the Justice Department accusing Lisa Cook of mortgage fraud. Basically, she bought 3 properties, claimed they were all her residence. And you cannot do that, folks. That is mortgage fraud. Now, I show you that video to set up one last article I want to talk about tonight. And it's a really interesting question. This is from the Washington Examiner, written by the inestimable Byron York, who I affectionately refer to as the Owl, because every time I see that cat, that's the first image that comes to my head. He looks like an owl perched up on a tree limb. What is cause, and why can't the president fire Lisa Cook? That's the headline of his article. Everybody knows President Donald Trump wants the Federal Reserve to lower interest rates. He's been on a near daily crusade against Fed Chairman Jerome Powell for months. There have been rumors that Trump would fire Powell, but he hasn't done it yet and doesn't seem likely to, mostly because Powell's term expires next year anyway, and Trump will get to replace him. But Trump has taken action, and that is to fire Lisa Cook, who up until a few days ago, was a member of the Fed's 7-member Board of Governors. The members serve a long-term 14 years, and Cook was appointed in 2024 by then-President Joe Biden. In a termination letter to Cook, Trump noted a criminal referral against Cook filed by the head of the Federal Housing Agency and said there was sufficient reason to believe Cook committed mortgage fraud by claiming 2 different houses as her primary residence. Quote, there is sufficient reason to believe you may have made false statements on 1 or more mortgage agreements, Trump wrote. For example, as detailed in the criminal referral, you signed 1 document attesting that a property in Michigan would be your primary residence for the next year. 2 weeks later, you signed another document for a property in Georgia saying that would be your primary residence for the next year. The American people must be able to have full confidence in the honesty of the members entrusted with setting policy and overseeing the Federal Reserve, Trump continued. In light of your deceitful and potentially criminal conduct in a financial matter, they cannot, and I do not have such confidence in your integrity. And with that, Cook was out. A little further into the article, it is worth noting in her 24-page lawsuit, Cook never once said whether she did or did not claim 2 houses as a primary residence. That key factor was left unaddressed. Instead, Cook argued that even though the Federal Reserve Act states that the president can fire a governor for cause, the specific passage of the act says that each member shall hold office for a term of 14 years from the expiration of the term of his predecessor unless sooner removed for cause by the president. Trump did not have an appropriate cause for firing Cook. Now, from what I understand, this is about as open and shut a case as it gets. As a matter of fact, Lana says that come Thursday, Bill Pulte, the head of the Federal Housing Administration, is going to have an announcement about all this. Okay, interested to see what is going to come out of that. Hold that thought, Kawan, because Trump may be on to something here without even knowing it. Folks, I'm going to make you a prediction right now, and I could be totally wrong about this one, but I don't think I am. This case is going to go up to the Supreme Court. I'm telling you right now, this is going to go up to the Supreme Court. Before it's all said and done, this one is going to make its way up to the 9 justices. And there is an opportunity here for the Supreme Court to weigh in on a question that has been bugging everybody for years. And when I say bugging everybody, I mean people on the right side of the political and economic spectrum. How much independence does or should the Federal Reserve have? Okay. Now here's what I'm getting at. So the president nominates someone to the Federal Reserve, let's say as a governor. Okay. And Lisa Cook is correct in one thing. It's a 14-year term. All right. But after the president nominates someone and after they are appointed, they're there for 14 years. You hardly ever hear about them. You hardly ever know who they are or what they do. Now, the Fed chairman's a little bit different. Okay. It's a term of what? 5, maybe 6 years. But even then, you got the same situation. I mean, presidents have howled, they've screamed, they've stamped their feet, they've clenched their fists, they've held their breath. But as far as getting a Federal Reserve chairman to move to do something, unless they agree politically and ideologically, it's almost impossible. Which sort of begs the question, how much, if any, control does the executive branch have over the members of the Federal Reserve Board and its chairman? Now, like I say, I think it's open and shut that Lisa Cook committed mortgage fraud. Okay. I mean, I want to see the evidence, obviously, but from everything I understand about it, yeah, it's kind of obvious that's exactly what she did. Okay. But there's a bigger question that I think the Supreme Court and the executive branch has a question, or has a question they ought to answer. Just how much control does the executive branch have over the members of the Federal Reserve Board? Who answers to who? I mean, yes, the president nominates someone, the Senate confirms, and after that, the elected officials of the federal government have little or no authority over the Fed whatsoever. They're just kind of this independent body out there that kind of, does its thing with interest rates and other economic decisions, and there's no accountability to anyone, let alone you or me. Trump, without realizing that he's done it, may have picked the lock that finally gets us, or gets a question answered that all of us have been dying to have answered for years. I mean, look, if I had my way about it, we'd get rid of the Fed tomorrow. But we'll see what happens. So, anyway. Now, I want to thank you guys for being here tonight. It's about 8:30, so we're going to go ahead and bring this train into the station. Give me some feedback in chat, if you wouldn't mind, about how you like this format. What format? I mean this. My plan going forward is to do a Tuesday night live stream, a Thursday night live stream, and obviously Saturday morning, assuming that I'm not traveling or what have you. But give me some feedback on this. I mean, hopefully you like it. And, always interested to hear what you guys have to say about how we do things around here. And by the way, I have to thank Kawan. You have sort of helped me stumble into a setting that actually doesn't make my picture look like it's pixelating all over the place. So, I genuinely do appreciate it. Zippy with one more Rumble rant. If Congress established the Fed, Congress has to remove it, but POTUS gets to control it either way. Well, there you go. We're going to find out, Zippy, we're going to find out how true that is, because I'm telling you right now, this case of Trump versus Lisa Cook, this one's going to the Supreme Court. This one's going to go to the Supreme Court. Okay, the pixelation was better. All right. Thank you. I appreciate that. Trying to make things a little bit better around here. Is one setting at a time. So thank you, sir. But anyway, we'll be back Thursday night, 7:00 Eastern, for the Thursday night newsroom. And thank you guys for coming out this evening. I genuinely do appreciate it. Remember to spread the word, hit the thumbs up button on your way out, leave a comment in chat, share the link around to your friends, hit the bell for notifications. And if you're not subscribed to my channel on YouTube and Rumble, go ahead and do so. Anyway, on behalf of Fedora Nation, thank you so much for being here tonight. You guys are totally awesome. I love all of you. And as we leave, as always, remember the words of that great American philosopher, Tom T. Hall, when he said, "It's faster horses, younger lovers, older whiskey, and more money." Love you guys. We'll see you Thursday night.